welcome everybody to another edition of AATBirds Weekly Report. And it's all about laying the foundation. I'm going to state it with that. I had that in the title just because of, what Howie Roseman talked about. Jeffrey Lurie spoke. Nick Sirianni spoke at the owners' meetings. We had a couple signings. Malcolm Jenkins' retirement. There's a couple of things, some news that the owner did release about some jerseys and some colors. And I do like Mike's on our little report thing. I think he added a little emoji there, which it's nice. I saw that too. But how are we doing, guys? I know not a ton of talk to talk about, but at least there's something.
I'm good. Happy to be.
Yeah, great. I'm wonderful. I'm super excited that we signed a player. I'm super excited that football.
You're getting into the time where the draft talk is ramping up even more
right
days and everything with that, and the draft is a little less than a month away. So you're gonna keep getting the rumors, you're getting visits, you get a lot of stuff going on behind the closed doors, and with the owners' meetings, you may start seeing some stuff happen in the next week or so. But I want to start off with what Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni talked about. We'll get into the signings, but I want to talk about this first, just because it's a lot of people. When Howie Roseman talks, he tries to not read too much into it. But did you guys catch what they talked about with Nick Sirianni and or Howie Roseman? And any thoughts with any of the stuff that they talked about?
I didn't get to catch it, but I'm sure it's just a lot of coach speak, a lot of GM speak, painting a rosy picture. Look, I've said it time and time again. I don't believe a word Howie Roseman says until I see it happen, because he says all the right things, but we've seen it in the past. He just, you know what? I guess I kind of respect Howie in a sense. He says what he needs to say to get pressure off of him so he could just go and do his job. And I get that to a point. I lie to customers all the time at work so I could do my job. I'm
Mike, we are live.
I'm not about to take a break. I just don't want to talk to you right now. It happens.
I think the thing that you mentioned about the fact he knows the right things to say and when to say them. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the deception game. Now, look, Howie Roseman had a great season this past season. His draft was good. I mean, it's still too early to tell on this draft, but it looks like the returns of it are good. He did sign big names or players that have become big names. He's got a good core. He's done the right things, but I don't appreciate the I'm going to tell you one thing but do something totally different. So here he is saying oh yeah, Jalen Hurts he's QB1, he's a playoff quarterback. But meanwhile, he's still wheeling and dealing trying to find another upgrade at the quarterback position. I appreciate a guy like Jim Irsay who says at the end of last season, hey, this was wrong. We have a problem here. This is unacceptable. Changes are going to happen. And then he makes the changes and trades Carson Wentz and then throws Carson Wentz completely under the bus today.
Unnecessarily, by the way.
Unnecessarily, but again,
okay,
I know where you're coming from. I got it. Sounds good.
Do you think by him saying what he said at the end of the season, though, did the team a disservice? Had he not said what he said the way he said it, they probably could have gotten more for Carson, I would think, right?
I think that too much was – yeah, I mean, look, I don't want to spend, any more than about 2 minutes talking about Carson Wentz, and I think we're at a minute 58 at this point. But, yeah, I mean, potentially maybe he tipped his hand, but at the same time, Carson Wentz put on paper that without Jonathan Taylor, that team isn't within spitting distance of the playoffs. So I think they got what they got.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, a lot of coach speak and everything like that, which is understandable. But I just think that what they kind of said and with Jalen Hurts was a quarterback coach now, but he can't say who, and he knows what he has to work on and stuff like that. It's going to be a make or break year because everyone knows what he needs to work on, and they didn't hit. They didn't get Russell Wilson. They didn't get Sean Watson. They didn't get these other quarterbacks that they may or may not have sniffed around about. So
right.
This is 2022. Jalen Hurts. I don't think they're going to be drafting any quarterbacks, but again, we don't know that. We have no idea. They had Carson Wentz signed into a contract. They drafted Jalen Hurts in the second round. So do we really know? No. We can think we know, but I don't know. To me, it's just we know what's going on. And I think the Jeffrey Lurie talk was a little bit more, talked about him not getting involved. He doesn't get as involved as he was. And he wasn't, the J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, it was between J.J. Arcega-Whiteside and Paris Campbell, which both guys aren't very good. So,
neither guy's good.
Yeah. So,
well, I think Paris Campbell has more talent. He's just been hurt. So,
well, in which case, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside wins that side of the deal because he's always on the field.
Yeah, sadly, I guess you got me.
Going by that logic, then J.J. Arcega-Whiteside was a better pick because at least he's been on display. He's the best blocking wide receiver in football.
He is. He's like an extra tight end out there.
Oh God!
Do you think he makes the team next year?
No.
If they had to,
pick not with them bringing back Greg Ward, not with them having Quez Watkins, not with them having. They even went out and got from Indianapolis Sirianni's favorite toy from Indianapolis. There's not a place on this team for J.J. Arcega-Whiteside unless he were to learn the tight end position. And I think by this point, he can't be a project player in this organization.
Fair enough.
Yeah, no, I get
and
that.
I didn't even mention Jalen Reagor, who will be on the team this year, and that's a sad thing for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't know if Jalen Reagor will be on the team, but
he'll be in camp.
He'll be in camp. No doubt. But I think he could be let go or after the fact. But I want your guys' take on, just talk a little bit about Jeffrey Lurie announcing the Kelly Green jerseys are coming back for not this year, for 2023, but this year they're going to have black helmets with the all black uniforms and everything. So takes on those two.
Chip, you want to?
I think they're uniforms. I'm cool. Awesome. Super excited that there's going to be a cool color rush situation. But at the same time, that's the big news of the free agency period. That's the big news of the free agency period. The Buccaneers got that out of the way all the way back in at the end of the season. Like, we're bringing back the creamsicles. Cool.
Do they need to bring those back?
I really think they do.
I think those.
I think it'll go well with Tampa Tom's hue.
Yeah, I guess. I'm fine with the Kelly Green. The reason it's such big news is because a lot of fans, and I like the Kelly Green, but I like our regular green too. A lot of fans have just been asking for it for so long. You know what I mean? So we make it a bigger deal than we need.
The Kelly Green is cool and all, and I love it. I would rather them go back to their old logo.
You mean with the bird holding the football?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing. We're talking about the Kelly Green. What we need to think is, which Kelly Green is it? Is it the 2010 Kevin Cobb game Kelly Green? Because that was a brighter green, if I'm correct. I think the Kelly Green that we're all thinking of is like the
Randalls.
87 to 95, that era, the last Kelly Green, that's the one I want. But that 2010 Michael Vick Kevin Cobb game, it was almost like a highlighter, and I didn't like that at all. But what do you think about the black on black on black? Because
I don't like it.
I don't either. I think that dark green helmet with the black on black with the fat white stripe on the pants leg.
That's what I'm saying.
That looks cool as
what I think that they're trying to do too much, and if they have enough variations of a jersey, they can sell another variation of a jersey.
And Johnny's going to buy them all.
Johnny's going to buy them all. Jeff's going to buy them all. Peanut's going to barter his way to get it. I mean, it's just I'm not buying any more football jerseys at this point. With the way that the free agency period has happened this season, and it happened last season too, it has turned into straight Madden franchise rules. And I'm not buying any more jerseys at this point.
I'm buying one.
Kenny Pickett?
Well, okay, then possibly. If Kenny Pickett gets drafted by the Eagles, I will buy that. I plan on buying a black Jason Kelce jersey.
I would agree. A player that is a staple of the organization.
It like if you're rocking a Doc or a Kelce Or I've even seen people like wearing a Selleck jersey, like that's fine. You know,
At this point, it's got to be straight throwbacks.
Yeah, for the most part. Because here's the thing: like even I said I would buy a Kelsey jersey, and you said would I buy a Kenny Pickett jersey? Yeah, I would. But in 5 years, 4 or 5 years, it could be a waste of money. Whereas a Kelsey jersey, I could have that forever.
Think about it. You bought a Jalen Hurts jersey 2 seasons ago. It was number 2. Then he changed his number to number 1, which set off the whole chain of motion of why am I buying these players' jerseys? Now we're talking this offseason that he may not even be on the team. So within 3 seasons, he's going to have 3 different jerseys. Come on now.
Yeah.
Come on, buddy.
And the same thing, like if you bought a Darius Slay jersey when he first got here, and then he went to number 2, and then you see people at the link with duct tape on the back, just drawing a player's name on, which I always liked when they did that, by the way. I thought it was funny. So, but Johnny, your thoughts on the uniforms? We didn't hear from you yet.
I like the Kelly green. I really do. I just think it's something what they talked about, not the 2010 version. I didn't really like that all that much.
It was too
I know what
bright.
they're trying to do. It was just too bland. It was just very vanilla. Doug Peterson would have liked that. But I just think that this style that they're going to bring, the more the 80s and the 90s, I think is going to look really, it's going to be the cool factor. But again, it's going to sell tons of merchandise. They're going to sell tons of jerseys because that's what people want. And I think it's awesome. I like that they go retro because I've always watched it, like you guys mentioned, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Buccaneers always had the creamsicles. So you had the creamsicles, they have the jerseys, they go back and forth. I just think that it's the nostalgia. It's everyone's like, well, they never won anything in Kelly Green. Who cares? But it's not really about that. It's about the nostalgia. It's about the throwback look. There's people clamoring for the Sixers to bring back the Iverson days jersey types.
No, I'd be fine with that.
I like the jerseys they have now, though.
What?
The Sixers?
Yeah.
The red ones with the cursive writing?
Oh, wait, no, don't they? I thought they still wore the red, white, and blue. I don't watch a lot of Sixers. Sorry.
Yeah, they do. But again, to me, it's the nostalgia. It's an awesome thing because they're going to be able to rotate between the black helmet with the black jerseys. We'll see. Whatever. But I know
I said I would rather them bring back the old school logo rather than the Kelly Greens.
I like what the jerseys and everything and the logos and all. I like that of what it is now. I really do. Now, again, I grew up with all those logos and stuff like that. But when they wear the Kelly Green, and if they wear it at home, which most likely I'm sure I'm sure the logo is going to be in the middle of the field. It's going to be the retro logo. You're going to have that because they had that in 2010 in the middle of the field. If you happen to look, it's the old 1960s logo in the middle of that field. So they had that. Are you talking about bring the logo back full time?
Yes.
Okay.
But in this color scheme?
I don't care about the color scheme. I want that logo back.
No, what I mean is that logo is when we use the alternate and in this color scheme, they just changed the coloring around on it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
See, right. I don't know. I like this logo, but again, I grew up. That's how when it became a fan was the midnight green aspect, and it's always been there. So for me, I like this logo. I like this look. I like the throwback aspect. But
you're talking about buying jerseys and numbers changing. In 1995, in December of 1995, my dad bought his first ever Eagles jacket. Okay. Mm-hmm. It was black and it was reversible. It had Kelly Green on the other side. It was really cool. And he loved it. And then a couple months later, they announced the color change. And he was so freaking mad. But I'll tell you what, you're talking about this. Imagine if you're a Washington fan. You go from the Skins to the football team to the Commanders, which Commanders, I don't know if I said on the show or not, it's a terrible name. All this time you came up with the Commanders. I would prefer you kept the Washington football team. But, Daniel Snyder is taking something that's supposed to be making people feel better about, changing the name. And he's making money off of it. It's ridiculous.
Exactly. And that's what Washington does. But, yeah, I understand that. I'd be frustrated, too, with all the changes and everything like that. But this is a change that I think is pretty cool. And I'm glad they finally announced that they got the 2-shell rule, which they've tried. But with all of that, I want to kind of shift gears and talk about the 2 signings a little bit. Like I said, this isn't going to be a super long show. I just want to talk a little bit about the stuff that happened this past week or week and a half or so. But they re-signed Derek Barnett. I know there's a lot of that. We'll start with that before we get to the Kaiser White signing. But the Derek Barnett, at first I was like, why would you do this? And then, really thinking about it, looking into it. Yeah, he's making 2.6 mil this year. He still has a dead cap hit of 7.2 million or whatever. It's structured differently. For me, it's a 2-year, $14 million, and then it's structured differently. But he's 25 years old, going to be 26. He's going to be a rotational defensive end. Essentially, it's just a 1-year deal. But for me, you need all the depth you can get. And I still don't think some people said that this takes them. I saw some people say this takes them out of the defensive end or edge rusher to draft. No way. I still see them drafting an edge rusher high because they need as much depth as possible. Look what happened last year.
You also have Brandon Graham, who was aging very quickly and coming off of a heinous injury.
Yeah.
So you cannot rely on a Brandon Graham.
True. And correct me if I'm wrong, when Derek Barnett was drafted, Vinny Curry was still here. So, had we not drafted Derek Barnett, and of course he didn't turn out the way we thought he would, but, if we would have just said, well, we're fine with Vinny Curry, you see what I'm saying? Like, that's a position, hey, we could have re-signed Ryan Kerrigan. He's going to give you more than him.
Yeah, we did not.
Yeah. Do you think they go after him again, or is he?
I don't think.
I think they're going to let him test the free agency market for a little bit before making an offer. I do, because his worth is just tremendous at this point. So
yeah.
But no, you look at Derek Barnett and you look at the re-signing, and you need the depth. He's not a terrible player. I understand he makes stupid decisions. I understand all the personal foul, all that nonsense that goes on. He's not bad against the run. He's very good against the run. He's not a terrible, I mentioned this to somebody about Derek Barnett. And to me, Derek Barnett is exactly what Mike Mamula was. Mike Mamula wasn't a bust, in my opinion. Mike Mamula was a decent football player. He had 31 and a half sacks in his career with the Eagles. A little bit more than what Derek Barnett has right now. But they're kind of like, they're not superstars. Yeah, they may have been overdrafted. They drafted way too high than what their careers have panned out to be. But I don't think Derek Barnett's a bust. I think he's a decent football player, a serviceable player that's able to be on a roster, and he's going to be able to play another 5 to 6 more years, in my opinion. He's not a terrible football player.
So this to me gets into my point a little bit of the mistake that the Philadelphia fan base makes a lot, which is we give up on players too early. So Derek Barnett has a lot of upside. He has a lot of upside, and he's still, like you said, 25. He's a young enough guy. We didn't overpay for him. He was already going to be, like you said, a dead cap hit, so we're getting enough money for him. He's an extra piece. He already knows the defense. He knows the team. He knows the coaches. It's not a free agent coming in off the street. I think it's a good move. It's an okay move. But again, I think the overall theme of this free agency has been very underwhelming. Like, we've gotten decent players. We got players that were upgrades to what we had, but they're not game-changing, headline-writing players. Now, Tyrann Mathieu is starting to pick up a little steam of coming to the Eagles. It's all over the rumorscape on the Twitter.
He's coming back in tomorrow, I heard.
But again, that would be a headline-writing acquisition. Derek Barnett's not. Kaiser White is not.
So, bringing back what you said when you first started, bringing up your point about giving up on players too soon. When they drafted Brandon Graham back in 2010, his first 5 seasons, he struggled mightily.
There it is.
Okay. But his first 5 seasons, he had 17 sacks in his first 5 seasons. Derek Barnett has 21 and a half right now.
So there you go.
I'm not saying Derek Barnett's going to be the same caliber of player as Brandon Graham and a leader or anything along the lines of that. But who says that he doesn't have a good year this year?
Can I just, to that point though, in that time span, Derek Barnett has only ever played defensive end. If we remember correctly, Brandon Graham was switched from
hybrid
to that outside linebacker.
2013, 14,
Yeah.
15. That he was the switch to the hybrid mold. But again, he did struggle his first 3 seasons under Andy Reid in the 4-3 defense. And I'm not saying he's going to be an all-pro or a Pro Bowler, but I still think he is a serviceable. And they needed to get a veteran defensive end. And, talking about it earlier this offseason, we mentioned different pass rushers that they could sign. One guy was Arden Key, who just signed with Jacksonville, like a player along the lines of that. Derek Barnett, I think, is better than Arden Key. So you get Derek Barnett back. And to me, yeah, it's a frustrating because he struggled. He hasn't lived up to that potential. But if the Eagles can, build up the depth here, draft certain players, and then bring in a couple players, the rest of next month before the draft that are able to, help out this team. And I think you can start seeing a little bit more of a successful offseason, a little bit more clamor around the fan circles of them doing a little bit better than they have and not just running it back. If you want to say that, because there's a lot of people talking about that. But the other signing they made was a linebacker, Kaiser White. Now, there was talk. He's listed at 218, but I know there was a couple of Chargers and sources and stuff like that were talking and said that he played last year upwards of around 230, 235, if I'm not mistaken. So
it's light. It's
still light, but it's when you look at the linebackers nowadays, you're not going to have the 250, 255, 260 pound middle linebackers like a Jeremiah Trotter or anything along the lines of that. For me, Kaiser White fills a need with you. One, being able to cover. He's a lot better coverage linebacker, a converted safety from West Virginia when he came into the league. But he's gotten better every year. And I don't think this is comparable to what the Eric Wilson signing is of last year. But again, people are going to be hesitant because the linebacker signings over the years have not really panned out, unless you're looking at Nigel Bradham back in 2016.
My only concern is, did they just sign a different Nate Gary?
Yeah, and I think that's my. So, yes, you look at the upgrade over, Singleton and Jannard Avery. Yes, I do think that Hassan Reddick and Kaiser White are better.
I do. I as well.
Oh, no doubt.
I do. But again, then it all comes into coaching and scheme. We were all under the impression that we were going to be getting a brand new defensive coordinator because the one we had was such a hot commodity in the coaching world. And that didn't happen.
Well, but Chip, hold on. You said you're talking about coaching and scheme. We have no scheme, remember?
I'm going to hit you.
But I'm just saying that's my problem is we're bringing all these guys in, and I still don't know defensively if these are good signings or not, because I don't know what our scheme is. What I know is that our brand of defense is terrible, and I hate it. I do, because this defense, as much as I hate to admit it, was better under Jim Schwartz with worse players.
Yeah.
We could say some of the players that are on this defense right now are better than what Jim Schwartz had in his last season as defensive coordinator. And it sucks because if Jonathan Gannon is so smart, I keep hearing how freaking smart. You know what? No, actually, it makes perfect sense. My cousin is a borderline genius, and he's one of the dumbest people I've ever met. So, okay, yeah. Sorry, Jonathan Gannon. Do your thing.
I think Peanut's question here is good. Do you think Kaiser White was a Howie signing, or did Gannon force his hand?
It could be both.
It could be both, and we'll never know because, as we said, the ability that Howie has to talk between the truth is, sensational. It's what he is known best for. He talks between the truth. But again, even if you paint a turret, it's still a piece of crap. And this defense was porous last year.
And that's being kind.
I am being kind.
I believe Howie also said he didn't think that they would be able to get Kaiser for the price that they got him at. So I think what we're seeing now with Kaiser White, with Derek Barnett coming back, they're letting the market dictate what they can and can't afford, which tells me I think they make a splash in the draft. And he also, I believe Howie did say, I saw a quote that, he's tired of these 1-year signings that don't work out. And there's a long list of them. Yeah. So he's trying to be more diligent in that respect. So will I take a quote unquote boring free agency period to have more sustained long-term success? Yeah, I'm okay with that. Let's not forget, if I remember correctly, I believe the 2017 offseason was very slow at first. And then we had some late additions like later on in the year. Like I think Ronald Darby was a trade in training camp.
Yep.
And
Ajayi trade in the middle of the season.
Ajayi was in mid-season. I remember I went to his first game when they played the Broncos. LeGarrette Blount, I think, was like later in or early summer.
And that's where I'll give Howie the credit. And you're hearing a little bit coming out of, I want to say Baltimore. They were talking about it, but like you look at a player like Deshaun Watson, and he has completely changed the landscape of contracts for a quarterback.
That's insane.
Right?
What he got
it's
paid.
insane. And you look at what some of these wide receivers were signing for, and you look at what some of these other players are signing for. And if Howie had paid some of those prices, we would have eaten him alive. Yeah. So yes, he's not getting the flashy free agents, but he's also not overspending on these guys either. So it's kind of like he's sitting on the sideline, and that's great. And we know that he makes moves, close to the trade deadline, and we're all really excited for them because they typically are pretty good moves. It's just very frustrating when teams are out there spending the level of money that they are for us to be going, here's Kaiser White.
Well, the thing is, Marcus Williams, they were in on him, but he wanted to go to Baltimore. In on Allen Robinson, he picked LA. And other teams when the players are picking the other teams because maybe they just fit better, or maybe they offered, Christian Kirk was another one. They didn't go to the level Jacksonville did. So
Christian Kirk got way overpaid. That's kind of my point.
They're sniffing around. They're trying to see, exactly what fits and what doesn't. And the reason LA didn't bring Kaiser White back is because Brandon Staley's defense, he wants bigger middle linebackers. They had him playing middle linebacker in their defense. So they
also just picked up Khalil Mack. I think they're going to be okay.
Well,
this is true. You talk about a team that's spending some bank right now. The Chargers are.
Yeah.
You don't need a Kaiser White when you've got a Khalil Mack who is a successful hybrid player between the two positions.
Well, I think Khalil Mack more is a pass rusher, especially this late in his career. That's really all he's
agreed. Agreed. But what I'm saying is you don't need a Kaiser White in that situation.
Because he plays middle linebacker for them. He's going to play outside. He's going to be able to do different things that the Eagles did not have. We've always clamored for about linebackers. You want to get linebackers. And hey, yeah, I may be a little bit more homerish to this signing because he is from Macungie and he is from Emmaus High School. So I've watched his career since he came in just because of that. But again, watching him last year, and I'm not just going to say, just his tackles, the tackles he made. I went a little bit deeper, watching some other games. There's a couple plays he made that Alex Singleton would have never made, or he would have tried to make, but he would have been 3 steps too late, and the guy would have been by him. Same with Nate Geary. A couple of different plays he made.
Nate Geary would have been turned around.
We don't talk about Nate Geary.
just wait till Kaiser White wears number 47 and plays.
No, but you know what it is like, and I hear what you're saying about Kaiser White, and like I'm excited to see him on a field. I like the home story. I like all the things about him. Where I get concerned is even though Alex Singleton was garbage juice in pass coverage, he at least was a sure-handed tackler. So in order for me to get an upgrade in Kaiser White, I need to see the coverage skills, and I also need to see sure-handed tackling. I cannot go back. We can't go backwards to where we're leading with our head and we're missing open field tackles and we're not – Alex Singleton, losing him in that aspect is very important to talk about.
So you're saying Alex Singleton's a sure-handed tackler?
And now you're going to pull up how many broken tackles he had. Sure. But how many of them were for being out of position because he simply was not athletic enough?
I have a question. Do you think Kaiser White replaces both Alex Singleton and possibly Kayvon Wallace? If he's a hybrid player, if you have him as box safety because Kayvon Wallace hasn't really panned out, is this Howie addressing two positions? Do you think they have him play safety sometimes if the will linebacker is not on the field for a specific play?
So this is the way I kind of see it. I think that you're going to see a lot. They like Davion Taylor. Mm-hmm. Now, unfortunately, the injury bug has hit him. I thought last year he was coming on. After they benched Singleton, they had Davion Taylor playing a lot more next to T.J. Edwards. And I thought they both played pretty well. But again, I think you're going to see a lot more Davion Taylor. You're going to see Kaiser White. I think it adds an element of speed. It adds an element that the Eagles defense hasn't had. Now, I don't know what the Kayvon Wallace, this is his make or break, all season. He's going to have to show something because, again, he was not a draft pick of these guys. So he's going to have to show what he can do. What that is, I'm not sure right now.
But you say that, but neither was Jalen Reagor.
No, it wasn't. I understand.
So how Kayvon Wallace, if Kayvon Wallace is in the make or break year, then Jalen Reagor is broken and is gone.
Yeah, well
that would make me really happy, wouldn't it, Chip?
It would, because I do for Jalen Reagor's sake at this point, he cannot be successful here. He just can't. Because no matter what he does, he is never going to live up to the expectation of the players that were drafted around him, and that's all he's going to be judged for. And it's interesting that Don Conway is saying this, about bringing up a DK Metcalf. Until DK Metcalf puts on an Eagles uniform, Jalen Reagor will always be compared to him.
You mean J.J. Arcega-Whiteside?
Yeah, that. No, we're sorry. Justin Jefferson is Reagor's mistake.
Yeah. So, but I'll end the.
And you can't compare the two. It's not fair. They're different players.
I think that because there's a lot of players. There's
one's good, one's bad.
The DK talk. There's apparently Deebo Samuel. Not sure with the contract negotiations with them. AJ Brown, Brandon Cooks. There's a lot of receivers that are out there.
Jarvis Landry is still out there for Christ's sake.
Yeah, but he wants $20 million a year. So I don't know.
I mean, dude, $20 million a year for Jarvis Landry.
That is too much.
Like Jarvis.
That's like giving $6 million a year to Greg Ward. It's just not going to happen.
Like Jarvis, my man, if you're listening to this, which you're not, but if someone could just relay this, you are a fine NFL player. You, my friend, are not worth $20 million a year. Sorry.
No.
Exactly. But again, I want to go back before, I told you Kaiser White, Alex Singleton. Kaiser White, 5.3% missed tackle percentage last year. Alex Singleton, 12.7% missed tackle percentage.
And I hear you, but we also know that Alex Singleton was not athletic enough in coverage. So typically he was out of position when it came to any kind of pass coverage.
Kaiser White isn't out of position a lot. So
no, I'm saying that he's more athletic than Alex Singleton.
Be both beneficial, which we'll see. We'll see what they do. And again, this offseason is going to be fun with the draft coming up because I think that they're going to be active, whether it's making a trade up before the draft or making a trade on draft night. I think it's going to be fun. We're going to talk about it. This is where I'm going to kind of start wrapping it up a little bit. We did a lot of our talk. There isn't too much to talk about this week, but next week, a couple of things in mind. We will be joined by Rob Motti, Faith on the Field podcast. He's a AP NFL writer. He's going to join us, talk about the offseason. So definitely some fun stuff going on. We have some stuff planned. So just stay tuned. We're not going to break it yet. We're not going to say anything yet, but a couple of things that we have in store, in mind that we're thinking of doing. So definitely stay tuned with us. Check out all our social medias. I'm going to run down through all the sponsors.
Johnny, before you do, can I just say one thing?
Go ahead.
The NFL also did pass a rule where both teams now get possession in overtime.
Yeah.
So I just do think.
And that's the Philadelphia Eagles cultural, another combined situation.
Yeah.
So
And
I thought that was important to.
Don, I'm sorry, there is no draft show this year. Life is pretty hectic. And
He's got 2 babies now. Come on, Conway. You know that. You know that lifestyle.
But again, we may start talking draft stuff on here in the next couple of weeks. So tune into that. You'll get my input, my thoughts. So definitely, stay tuned for that. The statement games, fun, free twist on fantasy sports. There is a link in the bio. Manscaped.com is partnered with AATBirds. Use the code AATBirds for 20% off and free shipping at checkout. Chip has a commercial we're going to be playing at the end. AATSportsNetwork.com/shop. Have a couple ideas that I'm working on. But getting those up soon, so definitely keep an eye out. There may be a little bit of a Kelly Green influx into some of this stuff. So definitely keep an eye out for that. Symbol, stock market for sports, symbol.com. Use the promo code AATSports when you sign up. And TripleThreatBets, TripleThreatWagers.com. Check them out. Great handicapper for college basketball. Of course, college basketball season is winding down. We got the Final Four this weekend. So definitely keep an eye out for that.
Go Nova.
Final Four and next year. Exactly.
Nova.
Go Nova. And I think that just about does it with tonight's show, fellas. Short, sweet, to the point.
Yeah.
Like me.
The way we do it. But
Yeah.
with that, we'll end it like we always end it. And Chip will hit the commercial.
Go Nova.
Yeah. Go Nova and go Birds.
Go Birds.
Go Birds.
Are you tired of my cheesy Manscaped commercials that only talk about products that service your nether regions? Well, the brand new Ultimate Premium Collection is out. Snap your fingers and let's talk about it. Believe it or not, it's for a not-so-private part. I'm talking about a leveled-up hygiene routine with your favorite manly scent. This is an all-in-one skin and hair care kit for the everyday man and covers you from head to toe. Literally, Manscaped is trusted below the waist. Now trust them with the rest. Join the 4 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped by going to manscaped.com for 20% off and free shipping with the code AATBirds. This package includes a lot of wonderful products, including Manscaped Body Wash to lather you up with their infused aloe vera and sea salt shower gel. It also includes a 2-in-1 shampoo and conditioner. It'll help clean your scalp with one easy step. Next up in this package is the Hydrating Body Moisturizer. Do you have tattoos or issues with dry skin? This is designed to keep your skin feeling clean, smooth, and smelling fresh. Don't forget about the Manscaped Premium Deodorant. No, not for your balls, for your stanky armpits. This deodorant dries clear, is aluminum-free, and smells like their signature scent. Plus, this package includes a free gift, a 3-pack set of lip balm that's made up with ingredients such as vitamin E, peppermint, and eucalyptus oil to keep those chappers feeling moist. That's 4 products and a free gift inside the Ultimate Premium Collection. What a score! All these products are cruelty-free, paraben-free, vegan-friendly, and dye-free. The best ingredients with zero compromise. Don't forget to go to manscaped.com and use the code AATBirds for 20% off and free shipping. That's 20% off and free shipping with the code AATBirds at manscaped.com. The power of attraction is now in a bottle thanks to Manscaped. Your balls and body will thank you.